Hello, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make videos for NBA. I make videos for NFL. Hope you guys had a great new year. I make updates with all the news that comes out throughout the day. Anything you need, I make updates. You can ask me questions here. People talk strategy here. It's just a really great place to be. So that'll be linked down below. If you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can get a hold of me on Twitter right here or Reddit Messenger. But the fastest way is just replying in the comments. I'm really, really slow to getting to Reddit messages. I don't know why. They don't pop up for me. Like I don't get a notification. So if you sent me anything, I'll check after this video. But yeah, let's get into my lineup from tonight. So I just got so incredibly unlucky tonight. So incredible. Okay, let's take a look at what my core today was. So, my core today was Giannis Antetokounmpo. I don't know how half the field faded. If you guys watched my video yesterday, it was my favorite spend up. So Giannis was a core play. Emmanuel quickly was a core play, and then Ish Smith was a core play, and Bradley Beal was a core play. So Beal, I mean, he was a free square once. Who got ruled out? Kevin Durant, I think. He played huge minutes. Just blowout, which could have happened. Talked about that in my video in Discord, saying if you want to play for blowout, you could absolutely play for blowout. Ish Smith, I mean, he shot legit 10% from the field and still smashed. And didn't smash, but did good first price. 4.5x. Quickly, just random massive foul trouble, but 30% faded him. Didn't understand that. And then Giannis obviously was a smash. And then I would have easily cashed what less than 10 points out of the cash, and yeah, I get no fourth quarter minutes out of Alfred Sengun, unowned Alfred Sengun. You guys knew I was extremely high on the Rockets, guys. If you played Fred VanVleet, sincerely apologize for that first half and then the blowout. He started smashing in the third quarter. Unowned Alfred Sengun in a smash spot. Unowned. Nobody clicked him. Nobody. Absolutely destroying the slate. Zero fourth quarter minutes. And then can we talk about Portland? I mean, they've been playing Jabari Walker pretty much all the minutes he can handle, and they've been spot starting Moses Brown and not playing any of the bigs. And for some reason tonight, they decided tonight was a good night to start playing the bigs. So Jabari Walker just got absolutely trolled tonight. Luckily got there in the blowout. Also, he should have an extra rebound. I'm pretty sure they took a rebound away. And then Nick Smith Jr., a little bit unfortunate there. Also shot 10% from the field. Instead of Brandon Miller, shot 10% from the field. So really, really likes my lineup tonight. Just got a bit unfortunate with the blowouts and the foul trouble with Quickly, and the Charlotte Hornets shooting 10% from the field. Bit unlucky there. So if you swapped onto some Hornets, you got definitely a bit unlucky there. All right, let's go over this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-game slate for tomorrow, the 2nd of January. Weird saying January. I hope you guys had a great New Year's, though. But if you are interested in more in-depth content where I go over each slate privately, I give you guys that core of 4 players to play every day. Night slate videos, night slate cores, all that good jazz. My Discord link will be down below. All right, Chicago at Philly. This game environment isn't great. Andre Drummond, I mean, if he stays out of foul trouble, I would expect normal minutes here. He got into foul trouble here, especially going up. I mean, Joel Embiid should be able to feast here, but as long as he stays out of foul trouble, I still have interest at 8.2K. We know his ceiling. We know he can get blocks. Like I said, as long as he stays out of foul trouble, he should play decent minutes, unless he gets played off the court like he did in this Pacers game. They went small. But yeah, I still have interest in Drummond at 8.2K. Just tough matchup going up against Joel Embiid. DeMar DeRozan has really, really cooled off of late. But he still will play huge minutes if the ownership's going to drop. We know him, Kobe White, they're two go-to guys. They're highest usage players without Vooch, without Zach LaVine. So I still have interest in the main guys. I still think, especially if they're going to be lower owned than they should be, Kobe has slowed down of late as well. So definitely like these guys as bounce back candidates. I think they're going to be a bit under owned tomorrow because of recent performances. Patrick Williams should play low to mid 30s minutes. I think he's reasonable at that price point. And then Alex Crusoe should play around 30 minutes, another just fine play. And then you're going to see some Io. Terry Taylor's been getting the backup 5. Don't think we need to go there. And then Io, I think, is priced right. All right, moving on to the Sixers. Joel Embiid, I mean, I don't know why the price came down. I really, really don't. So I would expect him to be full go here. I haven't seen anything on a limit. It is his ankle, but I don't know why the price came down. Joel Embiid, one of my favorite spin-ups on this slate. Probably my favorite spin-up on this slate. I absolutely love Joel Embiid here. Going up against Andre Drummond, I mean, he's just been on another level this year. So sign me up for Joel Embiid. I think he looks amazing. Tyrese Maxey, more of a contrarian play for me. Tough spot going up against Chicago as well. So, and then everyone else is priced up. I would assume they keep Kelly Oubre in the starting lineup and they just start like Tyrese Maxey, Kelly Oubre, Tobias Harris, Nick Batum, Joel Embiid. With that being said, everyone's priced up from when Embiid was out. So tough to get to any of these guys. Paul Reed out of play. Kelly Oubre, I mean, does have a ceiling, still at 5.8K with Melton out. And then Batum should play around 20 minutes. I feel like we'll have better value, especially on the Warriors. So that's going to wrap it up for this first game. Let's move on to the Spurs. Keldon Johnson is probable going up against Memphis. I mean, they're just limiting Wemby right now, so it's tough to go to him. He still does have a ceiling. Like he's incredible fantasy producer. Can go for like 6-7 blocks a game. That's when he'll really have his ceiling. Personally, for me, my one lineup, I can't click on a minutes limit at 8.5K, but if you are playing like 20 max, 150 max, you could throw a couple sprinkles in just because he does have this type of upside, limited minutes. Price has come down as well. So more of a just strictly large field tournament. And then we have Keldon coming back. So with Keldon coming back, that's going to hurt a lot of the value. Also, we have Zach Collins out. I do want to mention last game that Sandro Mamukelashvili did get the backup 5 in the first half, and then in the second half, they were actually going with a Dominic Barlow. And then Sandro wasn't going to play in the second half until the game blew out. So that's something I want to note. If Sandro Mamukelashvili is going to be really, really popular tomorrow, and people aren't going to realize that he did not get run until the blowout in the second half. Let me see if I can pull up the rotation for you guys. If we look here, Dominic Barlow, where is he? It was actually the one to come in for Wemby in the third quarter. And then as we see here, Sandro came in after that for Wemby. So I would say the range of outcomes for Sandro are definitely up there. So I still think he's in play for value. I would just be a little bit careful there. Both just Barlow just dart. Champagning his minutes haven't been great. 4.7K seems overpriced for me. And then with Keldon back, kind of hurts guys like Trey Jones. I think Sochan's fine, but don't love it. Yeah, pretty unappealing team to me. Chetty at 4K. We'll talk about the value on this Memphis side that I like more at a similar price point. All right, smash spot here. I like Ja Morant quite a bit. As long as the Spurs can keep this close, which I'd hope they would. I haven't looked at the totals yet, but should play big minutes as long as the game stays close. Just a smash spot here. So sub 10K. Yeah, Ja. I really like him. He's their go-to guy. He is really good fantasy producer as well. Good spot. So Ja, I think looks good at the top. Bane Jaren more contrarian plays for me with Ja back, but still in play. I didn't understand the Jaren Jackson Jr. chalk last game. I just didn't understand that at all. But in play, more contrarian options for me. A guy I do like here is Marcus Smart at 5.8K. 31 minutes in a blowout on 12:31. Take a look at this rotation. Marcus Smart was actually on pace to play a decent chunk of this game. So if they're going to keep ticking up his minutes, I definitely have interest at 5.8K. I think he's relatively safe. getting to the bench, it's just tough. We also have Luke Kennard back finally, and Derrick Rose back. So Luke Kennard, I would expect low 20s minutes from him. I actually think he's a solid value on this slate. I think he's a bit too cheap if he's going to continue to get like, 20, 21, 22 minutes. I don't know if he would have closed this game, so he probably would have capped it at like 20, maybe a little bit more. But yeah, I have interest in Kennard. I think he's solid value at 4.1. I'm not going to play Rose. Also, they went small last game. You did not see any Tillman last game. You only saw Biyombo, and then they went small. So Biyombo played 21 minutes, more of a dart for me, but a fine value. And then, like I said, they went small. So didn't see any Tillman. Alrighty, I think that's going to wrap it up for Memphis. I'm not going to touch anyone else here. Let's move on to Boston. So this game, probably one of my... don't love this game. Especially me. Tatum at the top is fine. With everyone healthy, this team's just tough to get to for me, personally, in my one lineup. Especially, I only really consider them when they're in really, really good spots. But they all have ceilings. One of them will probably have a big game, but they all just eat up a ton of usage. I think their prices are appropriate for where they are at right now. So Tatum, Brown, Porzingis, White, Drew, all just contrarian plays for me. I'm not going to consider any of them. I don't even know if in my one lineup I'm going to go out of my way. Like if I land on one as the last piece in, I guess it's okay. But at their price points, going up against OKC, I don't like really any of them, to be honest. If I had to pick one, it would be Tatum. I'm not going to play, I'm not going to play any of these guys. The value. Moving on to OKC, I think SGA is a fine spend up. Like I said, I think I'd rather get up to like a Joel Embiid. I think I'd rather spend down for like a John Morant. Potentially a DeMontis bonus in a really good spot. So yeah, kind of get the point there. I'd bring some other guys ahead of him point per dollar. Chet at 7.6 going up against Boston, just a contrarian play for me, but does have a ceiling. Jalen Williams is just fine. I think he's priced right. And then I do like Josh Giddey. I do think he's still a bit too cheap. Has played around 30 minutes in games that have stayed close. Solid point per minute. So I do still think you're getting a discount on Giddey. I think he's a solid play. And then stat sheet stuffer, obviously, very, very safe. Could they troll his minutes? Absolutely. It's OKC. Lou Dort, I also think is an okay value play. Just going to play around 30 minutes. Good defender, can get defensive stats. Does have a low floor, though, but I think he's reasonable at 4.6K. And I'm not going to play anyone else. Just not going to. You're going to see some Kenrich, but I don't think I can do it in my one lineup. All right, let's move to Brooklyn. So we have Dorian Finney-Smith is probable. Something to note here, they have been going with Dorian Finney-Smith in the starting lineup, and they have been having Cam Thomas off of the bench of late. So just thought I mentioned that. So you saw huge minutes for Spencer Dinwiddie last game. This was because Dennis Smith Jr. got into massive foul trouble. Dennis Smith Jr. I would say normally is going to play about 20, 21 minutes, which makes him in play for value. And then that's going to hurt Dinwiddie a little bit. Dinwiddie more of a just a contrarian play for me. I'm sure we're all happy for Mikal Bridges. We all jammed him here. People jammed him here. He was a good play here going up against Detroit. He just busted everywhere. It goes up against OKC. Absolutely nukes the slate. Yeah, should play big minutes. He's their go-to guy. I would say 7 assists is a bit of an outlier, but does have a ceiling. And then can we talk about Claxton? Can we talk about this? Finally, they play Claxton. The minutes that he should have been playing all season long. I don't understand what they've been doing here. I really, really don't. So, if they are going to continue to give Claxton the minutes that he should have been getting all season long, then I like Claxton at that price point. But Claxton's a really good point per minute guy. 6.8K. If he is going to play 37 minutes, he's well north of a fantasy point per minute. He's a solid play. So I'd like Claxton if they give him a similar run. Cam Thomas, I think, is pricey coming off the bench. Cam Johnson, his minutes haven't been great, but he's fine. I'm not going to play. Oh, and Dennis Smith Jr., I think, is fair value. Should play around 20 minutes normally. And I'm not going to get to anyone else. All right, moving on to the Pels. So we have Trey Murphy questionable. If he is out, that's going to make guys like, Najee Marshall, Alvarado, In play for value. If he is in, then Herb Jones, I think, is fine regardless, relatively safe. And then I like Larry Nance for value of 4.2K. We'll talk about some value on the Warriors, but with him back, he should play low 20s minutes, good point per minute guy. I think he's a bit too cheap, so I do like Larry Nance for value. I like the main guys once again. Brandon Ingram, Zion, CJ. I think all look good at their respective price points. I think all three are a bit too cheap once again. So like all three. I think Ingram's probably my favorite. I think he'll probably be the most popular as well. But I think all three look solid. Zion, definitely my least favorite of that grouping. And then Jonas with Larry Nance back. His minutes have not been great. So more of just a tournament only play for me. And like I said, keep an eye on Trey Murphy. If he's out, guys like Najee, Alvarado will get bumps. Herb Jones will be a bit safer, even though he's pretty safe to begin with. So keep an eye on that. All right, moving on to Charlotte. So we'll see here if Rozier is going to be playing or not. He sat tonight. So Hayward's going to be out for a bit, and then Mark Williams has been doubtful, so I don't expect him to go here. Going up against Sacramento, so if we get a situation where tonight, where everyone's out, once again, then I like Ish Smith for value at 4.3K. He just shot horribly tonight. Also was on pace to play decent minutes as well. So I do like Ish Smith once again for value if Rozier is out. Miles Bridges will be their go-to guy. He'll have to do absolutely everything for this team. Good spot going up against Sacramento as well. I'd like him quite a bit. Miller gets a bump. He would be fine. I would say more priced right, but I'd much rather just get up to Miles Bridges. PJ, no thank you. Richards at 6K. Going up against Sacramento, I think is very, very safe. And then you're going to see bumps for guys like McGowan's. I don't think I could pay that price for McGowan's, and I think Martin is priced right. And then Nick Smith didn't really get a ton of run tonight, so I just prefer Ish Smith. Moving on to Sacramento, I think Sabonis one of my favorite spin ups on the slate. I really, really like him. De'Aaron Fox, I think, is a good spin up as well. Very, very high on both of them. Keep an eye on what they do with the starting lineup. I would assume Duarte does start again. If he starts, he was on pace to actually play decent minutes. You know, he's not going to be high usage when he's out there, but he is cheap, solid value. Trey Lyle has been playing more of late. Didn't close last game. He has closed previously. I don't know if they'll close with him again though. But should play around 20 minutes, reasonable value. And then Barnes is fine at 4.5K. Seems a bit too cheap for him. And then Keegan Murray at 6.2K, I think seems priced right. And then Monk, more of your ceiling play. You know, if he's playing well, he does have this type of ceiling. But minutes weren't great last game. We'll just go with the hot hand between guys. And then Herter out of play off the bench. All right, moving on to Orlando. I think Paolo is fine to okay at 8.2K. Franz, more of your contrarian play between the two. I think I much prefer Paolo. Keep an eye on Marco Fultz. If he's out, Suggs is in play, but priced right. Cole would be in play too, but he'd also be priced right. Goga started last game. They're kind of doing a three-headed center rotation with like Goga, Wendell Jr., Mo, so it's tough for me to prioritize any of them. And then if Fultz is in, I do like Fultz at 5.1K if he plays. Keep an eye on that. And then that would take guys like Suggs, Cole Anthony out of play, but do like Fultz if he plays at 5.1. Unfortunately, I really like the Warriors tomorrow, and I am not ready for this. I am really not ready for this. So, assuming they go with that same starting lineup of, what was it? Chris Paul, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry. It was, CP3. I have it up. Chris Paul, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Jonathan Kuminga, and Trace Jackson Davis. I'm almost positive that was the lineup. Let me just pull it up. I have it up. Where are the Warriors? Here it is. So yeah, Chris, Steph, Klay, Kuminga, Trace. Assuming they go with that same starting lineup, I think Chris Paul stands out as one of the better mid-range plays in the slate. Would really like him. What else? Trace Jackson Davis, really like for value of 4.6K. These guys are probably going to be really popular tomorrow. What else? Steph Curry, more of a tournament player for me. I think Steve Kerr is kind of going to go with the hot hand between guys like Klay, Pods, Kuminga, and Wiggins. With that being said, I think Wiggins is intriguing. Kuminga does have a ceiling. Minutes haven't been great, but should play low to mid 20s minutes. I think is reasonable to solid. And then I really like Chris Paul. I really like Trace. Sarge, Looney, and then Klay Thompson, more of a tournament player for me. And then Pods played decent minutes off the bench, but some of the other guys were struggling. But yeah, unfortunately, the Warriors do look good in just an awful spot tomorrow going up against Orlando. So I can't wait to get absolutely trolled by Steve Kerr. Hope you guys had a good night, and I will talk to y'all in the next one. Happy New Year.